Welcome to the show. Welcome to Your Thought Life podcast. I am your host, Michael Anderson. Today, we're diving into a topic that many professionals secretly struggle with: self doubt. You might be checking all of the boxes, achieving goals, earning recognition, and even leading others. But on the inside, there's that persistent voice whispering, "You're not enough." And I know for a fact, as I too have struggled with this, that this voice is certainly going to sound familiar to some. In this episode, what we're endeavoring to do is to give the listener, each of you, an opportunity to find out what's at the core of this, what's underlying, and what can you do to break free from this so that you can have an existence that is free from the patterns that feed self-doubt. We've been tampering with a different learning style that we believe is receiving very good scores. You can let me know if you concur or not, and I'll change it back to the old way if you like. This is all about what you guys like the most. But we've been doing very short snippets instead of really drilling down. We did have some subscribers say that we were getting a little too far in the weeds. So we're just dialing it back a little bit to really give you what you need. Part one today, we're talking about the hidden patterns behind self-doubt. And then we're going to look at part two, how we rewire these patterns so that we can begin to live the life that we need, so that we can live the life that we want and desire. You should know that high achievers are not immune, as noted in the intro, from self-doubt. And more often than not, they're primed for it. The very patterns that help you succeed can be the same patterns that undermine your confidence. And there's essentially three things that seem to repetitively get in the way to promote these hidden patterns behind self-doubt. Number one is over-reliance on achievement for self-worth. This statement in and of itself packs a real punch. If your self-worth is tied to your to-do list or your next big win, I'm going to have to tell you that you're going to be stuck in a validation treadmill, and that is a very bad place for you to be, because we're going to learn that it's not a sustainable model. According to a study in the Journal of Personality, people who base their self-esteem on external success are more vulnerable to anxiety and depressive symptoms. Why? Because the moment that you're not getting the praise, you're not getting the pat on the back, you don't have anything else to go on because it's all externally focused. We're going to need to change this dynamic, and we're going to talk a little bit about this when we get to part two. Number two, under the hidden patterns behind self-doubt, is perfectionism disguised as excellence. We just did a live stream on this on our TikTok channel this morning. It was very powerful. A lot of people's lives were touched, but perfectionism might sound noble to quite a few of us, but it's often fear that's really dressed up nicely. Research from the University of British Columbia shows that perfectionism is linked to chronic self-doubt, burnout, and procrastination. What's the story here? When nothing ever feels good enough, you start believing that you're not enough. And what we're here to tell you today and to share with you in a very loving way is that There are some underlying circumstances that you have not dealt with. And in the live stream today, we said, we don't want you striving always everything you do for that A plus. Instead, we want to exchange that for a solid B. And this is sometimes so deep seated in our childhood that people are unable to take that small step down from A to B because of a whole host of fears that I can't get into right now. But know that this too has to change. Number 3, under part 1, the hidden patterns behind self-doubt, is imposter syndrome, which is disguised or dressed up as humility. Many of the people that I work with and people whom I have an opportunity to mentor oftentimes make the mistake of thinking imposter thoughts and disguising that in modesty, right? They really don't feel like they are worthy of the praise or the adoration of that a boy or that a girl that's being given to them, so they play it down. Here's the deal. When you chronically undervalue your role in your success, you train your brain to believe you're a fraud. And that's the core of the imposter syndrome. Neuroscience confirms this in so much as your brain is wired according to repeated thought. Think you're not enough long enough, and your brain believes it and writes it into all the things that you would do where this specific program or this behavioral pattern will come into existence. And without any of your intervention, it's in there ready to start defeating you. We endeavored to share with you 3 things that we felt were the top 3 things for the hidden patterns behind self-doubt. Now, let's get into some things that you can begin to do to rewire your mindset. Know this: repetition is the gateway to a behavior that you don't like. Repetition is the gateway to a new behavior that you do like. It works both ways. So you're not broken and you're not busted. You just need to identify what's not working and why, so that we can then begin to get rid of it. Here's 3 things that you can begin to do to help out in that process. And the first of which is to separate identity from outcome. A little while ago, we talked about how if over-reliant on achievement for self-worth, that's not a sustainable model. And indeed, it's not. Practice detaching your worth from what you achieve, because everything that you feel about a specific situation should come from within, not from without. And you're valuable because of who you are, not because of what you can produce, what you can achieve, and how many likes you can get. That's the main idea. That's the big idea here, because when we look at cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the principles that we use quite a bit in many of our recovery programs, it shows that reframing your inner dialogue is key. That in itself alone is enough to begin to make a very large corrective action as to how you are now going to build new patterns to supplant those that don't work for you and undo this self-doubt situation. And then secondly, you're going to celebrate progress, not perfection. We did talk about perfectionism. We talked about the underlying fear that's driving that. You should know that dopamine is released when you acknowledge progress. Dopamine is your friend when released in the correct way. How do you do that? It's very simple. Celebrate the small wins, even the micro wins, until you've begun to build a pattern of doing this without being prompted. Everything that we share on these podcast episodes is tied to a situation, a set of circumstances, and you being able to draw from your toolkit what to do in those situations. This is no different. Acknowledge and celebrate your wins, even your micro wins. This enforces a mindset of capability and helps you to build a reservoir of internal confidence that you can depend on and rely upon that says, in effect, you are enough all by yourself, absent from the external validation. Number 3, we want you to shift from comparison to curiosity. Comparison is a self-doubt trap. You have to understand that. You can't look at your circumstances, what you know, what you've achieved against someone else and start to feel differently about you because you don't appear to measure up to them. You don't know all that they have been through. You don't know their journey. You don't have all of the facts. And without all of the facts, it's very difficult, to say the least, to compare an apple to an apple if you can't identify positively that they're of the same species from the exact same tree with the exact same life cycle. Until you can do that, steer clear of curiosity. And oh, by the way, you'll never be able to do this. So always steer clear of comparison. Curiosity, on the other hand, is a fantastic friend, right? No longer are we saying, why am I not like them? Now we're saying, hey, I wonder how they got that way. I wonder what it is that they did to achieve thus and so, and start to unpack that and determine what the roadmap would be for you to achieve mastery in that area. We used to say that 10,000 hours was mandatory to suggest we're in the sort of ballpark, if you will, of mastery. There's things that you can leverage now through the use of AI to radically reduce that number depending on what type of learner you are. Take all of the tools that you have at your disposal and utilize them. Use curiosity as a gateway to expand your learning, to open your horizon, to be open to new gestures and to new viewpoints and vantage points. Instead of judging, out with the judging, in with the curiosity. Now, let me say this. We gave you the top 3 things that lead to the patterns that sabotage self-doubt, and we gave you 3 things that you can do as corrective actions on your own starting right now to get rid of those for good. It's my encouragement that you begin this immediately. There's no reason for any of us to have to feel less than, when in fact we're doing it all by ourselves, internal to ourselves. We just got to know it's not the setup for success. You're not broke. These patterns of self-doubt are very common, especially among professionals. We repetitioned in behaviors. We repetition out behaviors. The last 3 items allow you to repetition out this behavior, right? Confidence isn't about eliminating doubt. It's about learning to lead despite it. Remember, everything that you experience from praise, adoration, standpoint should come from within and not from without. Certainly, we thank you for joining us today, and I want you to know that you can reach out to us anytime you need us. We're here to help you with these matters. You can connect with us through Linktree. The link is available in the show notes. And I like to remind you that you are enough. You can do it. You are uniquely equipped to realize your goals. Until next time, take care and keep pushing forward. Take care and start working on self-doubt today.